So welcome, this is Healthy Futures Milford, a new TV show that will be starting. We're here to just tell you a little bit about what we do, what we believe in, and how you can get involved. So Healthy Futures is really our commitment to addressing the health crisis. And we do that by working together to promote healthy eating and physical activity through various programs, projects, and policies. So here today, we're here with Paul and Bob. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Paul Mazzucchelli. I'm the health officer for the town of Milford, but also I'm on the school committee as well. I'm the senior member of the Milford School Committee.
And my name is Bob Tremblay, Superintendent of Schools in Milford.
So Healthy Futures Milford is great. It's an active coalition made up of various community partners, from schools to faith organizations, nonprofits, businesses, parents, volunteers, looking at other faith organizations. So it's really a collective community response. And so what we're really driven to do, and based on our beliefs, is that we want to promote play. We believe that play is a powerful tool. And so to do that, we want to ensure that we're providing access to parks, to outdoor recreation, to sidewalks. We believe that healthy eating should be a right, not a privilege. And so we work on trying to ensure that everyone has access to healthy and affordable foods, regardless or across all different sectors of our community. And we really believe in this shared vision to create change. So we're constantly looking for new ways to promote what we're doing and what we're about in our community. So I don't know if either of you would like to talk about some of your involvement in our Healthy Futures Coalition and how you've gotten involved.
First, Lauren, I'd like to comment on some of the things that you just mentioned. For instance, the Department of Public Health, not only in Massachusetts, but the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia, has more or less confirmed that childhood obesity is an epidemic today. And it's an enormous task for one department or one committee to be responsible to address something like that. Like you just said, it requires not only changes in attitude, in activity, but in diet and whatnot. And it's something, again, like I said, that not one person, not one department can tackle that. And Healthy Futures being that cooperative collaboration of not only individuals in public service, but also in the physical activity departments, and also just general health and people who are interested as community members. And you need that cooperation to help out. Like I mentioned to Bob one time at a school committee meeting, you know, public health is really not taken serious until sickness comes. So an organization like this is more proactive than reactive. It's better to prepare yourself before anything disastrous strikes, such as what could lead from childhood obesity, such as your diabetes, your cancers, your heart diseases, and so on and so forth. So it's something, again, that we feel as though as a community, we're lucky enough, we're fortunate to have the cooperation like we have been getting in leaders like yourself and Bob and Judith Dadniece and people like that that's on the committee, to take charge and to show the direction on where we should go to prevent this, to teach parents, not only with their children, but for themselves, how to be more active, how to watch what they eat and the importance of it as well. And not only to do it as more or less either you do it or you're in trouble, but more or less do it and make it fun. And I think that's the whole approach that this organization's taken, which I think is a big step in the right direction. Not to steal all the camera time from Bob and whatnot, because I'm sure he has a lot to say, but I remember reading in the Journal of New England Medicine, and one of their studies that they had back 2 years ago, and the conclusion was, this generation could be the first generation in 200 years where the parents, or the children may have a shorter lifespan than their parents. And they say that the contributing factors is inactivity and poor diet.
Well, I think that's great. And before we go to Bob, I think there are so many great things noted in that. And I think really what we're looking at is addressing the health crisis. And we can talk about obesity and chronic disease and really want to, I think with our coalition, what makes it unique is that we're trying to take some of the stigma away, and we're trying to provide proactively solutions that anyone could adopt, though we want to address and reduce some of the negative sort of health indicators that people have. I think that we've been very selective about the language we use, and that we talk a lot about promoting healthy eating and physical activity, because I think we've always believed that everyone could be a part of that, where regardless of how healthy or maybe some additional risk factors you already have, you could still benefit, that we all can benefit. And to your point about public health needing to be something that is very prevention-based and proactive. And I think the other thing that's good to look at is kind of how we got here. When we think about healthy futures and what led us here, I know our YMCA, the Hockomock Area YMCA, was really committed to addressing new and emerging community needs. And as you were saying, around when that study was coming out, that was a big issue of childhood obesity. So back in 2006, our YMCA piloted Healthy Futures as a pilot program through funding made possible for Metro West Health Foundation, who's been a huge, definitely partner that we've all had. And then from there in 2007, we became a pioneering healthier community YMCA. And that was really through funding with the CDC and with YUSAs. And that's what really led to us saying, we need to convene different communities and partners to figure out how we can create change together. And I think our partners in Milford has been such a great example of what can happen when we work together. So I don't know if you can maybe share what you're seeing, Bob, in the school and how you're seeing this as being a positive approach to improving our community's health.
Sure. I want to comment on just the point you made about where this began, and having been a partner at the outset of that with the YMCA. And I think that everything the YMCA that you bring to us, but what the YMCA embodies in terms of it not just being about health and wellness, but also family and working together, realizing that they say proverbially it takes a village. Right. And indeed it does. We can only do so much in a school day. We can provide nutritious meals as part of our school lunch program. We can provide exercise as part of our physical education programming. But there's so much more to educating the family and realizing that this is about training and educating families. The school bears a tremendous responsibility in that, but we only have the children 6 hours out of the day. The remaining 18 hours of the day, they're under the care of their guardians, their parents. And this bridge that we've had with the YMCA in particular has been great, because what started out as a YMCA regional effort of all these towns that the Hockomock Area YMCA serves, now has really focused with you at the helm and the Milford Healthy Futures Initiative, and that's allowed us to drive this agenda. So the reason why we are making the strides we're making in large part is because of your commitment to this in Milford. So, absolutely. And I think that's important to point that out. As far as my views on schooling and health and wellness, my approach this year, as you well know, but the community may not be aware, is to educate our staff and to give opportunities to our educators to be in the best health they can be. The healthier our staff is going to be, the more ready they're going to be to teach kids and be good role models for them. Our students will then be educated by teachers that are energized, motivated, and feeling good about what they're doing every day coming to work. That's where I'm taking the first step, and we've taken that not only as an idea, but we've really put that to sort of rubber to the road by putting that in our district strategic plan and saying this is going to be what we're going to do in year one, being the current school year, and then in year two, how we're going to roll that out. So we've made a lot of those strides. Again, Paul mentioned Judy Dagnes, our nursing director. Judy has led the way on all of that for us in Milford, giving opportunities to our staff to have their blood pressure checked, giving those screenings, encouraging them to have the flu vaccination, but also a number of other wellness initiatives. We have some things we've rolled out for staff, self-defense training, Zumba classes, a number of things that staff can do to help themselves to be in better health. So it's a real community effort, and I think this partnership with the Y has really triggered all of that for us.
Well, and I think you make such a good point, because we know that even as a YMCA, we can't do it alone. The schools can't do it alone. And individuals really, I think sometimes receive a lot of the blame, or saying they could just do things differently. But we know that health is difficult, that making behavior change is hard. So what I love about this coalition is that we all are actively working together to figure out what our role is, and how, what I might do as a Y might be different than what the school might take on. And you're talking about this great program for staff might be different than the role that maybe public health can have. So that we're all really working towards this one shared vision, but maybe can tackle it differently. I think sometimes we've talked a lot about, or initially when you think back to kind of the inception, right, we're maybe doing more programs. So here's a water bottle, go for, walk more, drink more water, here's a pedometer. And now I think what we're trying to do as a coalition is think more on the policy end. So how can we create things that are going to sustain? So outside of just those one-time hits, what can you do looking at your district policy and looking at what the school's doing with wellness committees and with the wellness policy to really create long-term change in our community outside of even when this coalition maybe no longer exists in the future.
I think it's about choices too, and I think in a number of ways, and I say choices, people will often criticize the expense of eating well. It's much more expensive to eat healthy, to eat healthily in your family, but it's a lot cheaper than the medical copay.
Right.
And that industry is under sharp scrutiny as to what's affordable for people. And you see, if you go to anyone who goes to CVS to see the line down the hallway, down the aisle, people waiting for their prescription medication. I keep telling myself, I don't want to be the guy in line waiting for my if I can live as long as I can without having to need medicine to do it. I understand that there's certain things that you have to have medicine to treat, but if it doesn't have to be diabetes, if it doesn't have to be thyroid issues related to weight, then all the better. So, but at the same time, helping kids to make better choices. So they go to a vending machine or in the grocery store. I'm not going to say that we're never going to bring my family to McDonald's.
Right.
I mean, I would be literally lying to the community. It's going to happen. But the choices I make while I'm there, or the choices that my children at their young ages learn to make, whether they can really shape their future and so whether they can have to deal with this obesity issue or not. And I think it's just about teaching people to make better choices. That's the educational part of it.
Well, and I think we often say making the healthy choice the easy choice. That's sort of the tagline of our coalition, and I think that is important. How can we help provide the tools and the education so people know what the healthy choice is? And then some of it is up to them, right, if they choose to use that information or how they choose to use it.
I also think what we're seeing now is that attempt by the fast food restaurants to more or less hop on the healthy choice bandwagon as well. You could see McDonald's has a lot of low-cal, low-fat type of foods that they're trying to introduce. Whether they're going to be, maybe I know they're also in business, but maybe is that going to be a good business choice? Are people still going to be buying that? But at least it's there to offer. They're offering more fruit, like for instance, like in the breakfast, we see the oatmeal and fruit, being offered more so than the Egg McMuffin. You know what I mean? So I think they're getting the hint too. Maybe not this year, but maybe in the next few years, you're going to see a big turnaround in that type of business because, like you said, the choices are out there, and Bob was mentioning too about the expense. Maybe people can't afford the expense right away of buying, the healthy fruits and vegetables and the leaner meats and whatnot. But I think what you'll see is these fast food companies now jumping on that bandwagon and trying to make that bona fide attempt to meet that sector of the population or what is more or less almost in demand, I think, because of organizations like us.
It's interesting thinking about the price of food, right? So if we're saying that it's more expensive to eat healthy, that maybe we should think about what is the price of convenience too, right? So we're hearing about fast food and all these other things. So I think, again, there's all these different choices, and that I think what we want to really leave is this, or lead the community in as a coalition, is how to empower them to make healthy easy, how to make sure that we're giving them the necessary tools and resources so that they know how to choose better foods. And I think this is something that we're trying to do and will continue to try to do with this monthly show, is to help people understand how to make the better choices. We'll be highlighting with Lisa Vassell from For Better Health grocery store tours with Hannaford's. So as you both know, Hannaford's has been a very long-standing partner, similar to you, Bob, from the very beginning, and has also, as an organization, made a commitment to try to make healthy easier for people. So we'll be showcasing different tips and tricks from the grocery store with Lisa Vassell around Hannaford's to help people learn more about food and hopefully give them some of those tools necessary to make the healthy choice the easy choice.
I also think too that once people start seeing the success in eating right and getting more physical activity, the more apt they are to continue that. For instance, if you see somebody, working out and all of a sudden they lose 2 or 3 pounds for that week, they may not want to have that donut in the morning. You know what I'm trying to say? Or go for the more healthier choice to continue their success. So I think that's really it. You know, once they try it, I'm more or less asking the folks out there who are viewing and who would more or less fit into the category that we're talking about, to more or less try it. Try it out, be serious for at least 2 weeks, see if it changes your habits, and see if you see some results. And once you do, continue it, and you'll see, I can guarantee them they'll be seeing more and more.
Definitely. Well, I definitely hope that we all continue to work on this coalition and figure out new innovative strategies to educate our community, and hopefully people will stay tuned to find out tips, tricks, and resources that exist and how to be involved in Healthy Futures Milford.
So today we are going to make kale chips. So we have 2 types of kale here. This is called dinosaur kale. It's kind of a thicker, rougher kale, if you want to see that one. This is our curly kale, for obvious reasons, it's curly. So today we're going to use the curly kale, and we are going to make kale chips. I'm going to move these aside. And so what we're going to do is, we are going to take the kale, and what Ellen and I are going to do is remove the stem and cut these into sort of, or rip them into bite-sized pieces, and just break it in, throw it in the bowl. No fancy way to do it. You just want to remove that thick stem.
I don't think I've ever had these before.
No, tasty. So it'll be Ellen's first time trying it, so it'll be a great way to try new foods together. They're definitely kid-friendly. I've given them to 3-year-olds, 12-year-olds. So, perfect. Okay, so we're just gonna discard those, and I'm gonna have Ellen, if you want to just dump a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to massage the kale. Okay. So it'll be nice and relaxed when you eat it. Perfect. You probably need about a tablespoon or 2. And now we're just going to massage it so that it's covering the whole thing. So you're almost rubbing it on each of the kale pieces. Yep. And we'll want to make sure that they're all pretty evenly coated. There's 2 ways you can cook them. You can cook them for a shorter amount of time. If you do that, you're going to set your oven for 350 for about 8 minutes. If you decide you want to go in a lower temp, you can do it for around 250, 275 degrees for about 20 minutes, flipping them halfway. So once we have them all kind of evenly coated, we are going to just line this pan here. And then we are just going to lay the kale out. You don't want them too close together. You want to make sure that they're not on top of each other and have enough room. You can just kind of lay them out. There's all different toppings you can put on them depending on how crazy you want to get. Today we're just going to put a little bit of salt on them, and that's fine. Fabulous. And then we're just going to put them in the oven for 8 minutes. All right, so here are the kale chips. And now I'm excited because this is Ellen's first try. So what we're going to ask Ellen to do is have what I call a polite bite, which means that she has to be first open and willing to like it without making the stinky poop face of the, oh my God, that's disgusting. So we know a lot of kids at home do that. So we want to make sure that we're willing to try one bite and actually consider liking it without making the face. So let's start with that. What do you think?
I like it.
That's great. So another important thing to remember when you're trying new foods is that you either have to have new foods or retry foods 10 to 20 times to know if you like them. So just because you tried this once, I like to say if you don't love it the first time, it is a try again food, and that the next time you might like it, it could be how it's cooked or prepared. So it's important that we continue to try new foods throughout. We are going to make a double green smoothie. We have dinosaur kale here and just baby spinach. It's really important to look at increasing greens and dark leafy greens. They're going to be really great for bone health. They have lots of vitamin K in it. So it's going to be important that we think about how we can expose kids and adults to kale, and making smoothies is a great easy way to do that. There's definitely ways to get kids involved in the kitchen, so whether they're involved with the prepping or the cutting, I'm going to have Ellen actually cut some of the kale today just to show you how easy it is with kind of a kid-friendly knife to make sure that you're using age-appropriate. You're going to want to remove the stems, so we can just rip that, just remove the stems, yep. So depending on how you want to involve kids or adults, you can just rip the kale, or you can cut it depending on what skills you want them to develop. we're just going to throw about a cup, doesn't have to be exact, cup or so of kale in here. And just, again, you want to just remove the thick stem. Can use any blender for this. This one, you don't have to break them up too little. Some you might need to break up a little more. Okay, and then we're going to just throw the spinach in here too. Again, about a cup of spinach, give or take. If it's a little extra, you can, a little more won't hurt. Okay.
We've washed everything ahead of time, make sure everything's
Yes,
well
that's
washed.
good to know. Those. Okay, if you want to, I don't know how much you want in there. If you want to just take a handful, see how much you want in there.
Strawberries, blackberries,
Yep.
blueberries.
That's good. Perfect. Okay. Again, maybe about a cup of that, and then we're going to use we're going to use dried dates to sweeten it instead of using sugar. You could use dates, you can use apricots, but if you can try to use a whole food instead of a sweetener. And then we are going to add a cup of milk. You can do a cup to a cup and a half, really any type of milk, whatever you have available. It's not, it doesn't have to be an exact science, just use what you have. And we'll actually...
And this was almond milk that you added.
This was almond milk. We'll actually use a little bit more. You're fine. Okay, so add about so it's a cup and a half. We used frozen berries instead of ice. If you had fresh berries, just add ice. Sometimes you might need to add a little bit extra water. Again, just we'll see how it goes. All right.
Get the cups.
All right. Okay, you ready to try double green?
So it only comes in
smoothie?
green, right?
This one is green. Great question. Depending on how many berries or how much berries you mix in, it sometimes can be purple or become almost of a kind of a brown hue. What do you think?
Good. Cheers.
Can you tell me about your 7 to 8 rule?
Absolutely. My 7 to 8 rule stems from so many of us focusing our food on fruit because so many of us know that we're supposed to have them. 7 to 8 rule should be 7 to 8 veggies and fruit a day instead of fruits and veggies a day. 5 of those to be veggie and 2 being fruit.
Okay.
And of the veggies, really focusing on greens. And one of the things that I love to share with people is if you can eat a rainbow of colors, try to go into the produce department. There's so much color here, and seeing if you can't get one of each color every day.
Okay, that's a great idea. So eat a rainbow a day.
Eat a rainbow a day.
With greens, why would we want to focus on greens specifically?
Greens are huge antioxidants and superpowers when it comes to fighting against things like cancer, and really helping with metabolism, digestion, things like that.
Now, antioxidants. Can you tell me about that? Because I think that's a big, scary word for a lot of people.
So that's sort of like your fighters in your body.
Okay.
So anything that comes in, whether it be a virus that someone coughs in a bus, or whether it be something that is in the environment or something that's in your body, you're fighting with antioxidants. And so it's sort of the superpower in your body.
So if I was teaching this to a child, would it be appropriate to say it's sort of like a superhero food, or it's kind of superheroes in our food?
That's a great way to have kids get involved.
Okay.
And with the rainbow, it's really fun to have an ice cube tray and get a rainbow in the ice cube tray, cut up different colors, and if they want hummus for a dip or ranch dressing for a dip or even ketchup, they can go ahead and dunk their rainbow in their ice cube tray, and it's a phenomenal way to snack.
That's a great idea. Maybe also a rainbow smoothie to show them all the colors.
Absolutely.
Okay. Great.
One thing too, I love to hold up an avocado because avocados are loaded with healthy fats. Not only are they great healthy fats, but they also, if you eat avocado in a salad, it actually increases your absorption of the nutrients 5 times.
Wow. Okay, so now we're looking at this avocado. Now, if I've never had an avocado, what do I do?
So the first thing to buy an avocado is to go ahead and touch it. Make sure that you can actually put a teeny tiny bit of pressure on it.
Okay.
If you're going to eat it, say this week. If you're not, you can buy them harder and put them on the windowsill. The way that I do it is to just take a knife, cut it right down the middle, and open it up There'll be a giant seed in there, and the kids love that. They just don't let the little ones put them in the mouth, but the older ones love them. They call them the ball. And then you can just take a spoon and scoop it out.
That's great. I've heard that you can take the pit, what's inside, and put 2 toothpicks in it and rest it on the top of a glass that's filled with water, and it will actually sprout. So kind of a fun activity
That
at
is
home
really
for kids.
fun for the kids.